and I'm joined by the wonderful Claire Walls, my beloved colleague and awesome knitwear designer, the marketing and social media fairy behind all things making stories. Welcome, Claire! I'm so excited we get to share one of our chats with the world. Well, we're not gonna like do the weird stuff chat thing that we usually end up doing in our weekly calls. I promise you guys. We both share an interesting sense of humor sometimes. So,
yes.
That aside, I hope everyone is well. If you have questions for us, just type them in the comment box below and we'll be able to see them. And yeah, I would like to start with a quick introduction from you, Claire. Maybe you would want to share with our viewers who you are, what you do here in our work at Making Stories, but also as a knitwear designer.
Of course. So yeah, I work with Making Stories. I'm marketing and social media manager with lots of ends. And yeah, I'm a knitwear designer, so I spend the time between working on Making Stories and Floppy, which is my little knitwear brand, I guess. But yeah, and so I do knitwear design inside my work at Making Stories.
So, dear viewers, I am not entirely sure if that is a problem with my audio. Claire comes, you're sort of breaking up in between. So if anyone watching this could just comment to let me know if you're hearing the same thing that I'm hearing, because then we would have to change something to audio, maybe get a few headphones or something. As long as it's just me, it's fine.
I have headphones somewhere. They're definitely around. I see them tied up, especially for today, which means I'm no longer wearing anything. So, let's stop it.
All right, we'll keep it as is for now. But speaking of where are we actually with you? We are in your workroom, right?
We're in my workroom. Yeah, in Canada. I think if anyone doesn't know, I live in Nova Scotia, not Berlin. So, and I was originally from Canada based on the accent. So I'm originally from the northwest of England. So yeah, we're in my workroom here. That is now tiny, and I love working here. It's got some little things like, oh wait, and this that my friend did for me, and it's surrounded by little things and lots of wool. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. So I just got 2 comments that it seems to be the same for other people, not just me. So why don't I hold for 2 seconds? I'll get my headphones. You get your headphones?
Sure.
Yeah? Lovelies, we'll be right back.
Ooh, I think that's better. There we go. I just had to 5. So
Okay,
that's not good for me normally.
I think this is working better now, isn't it?
Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay. So on my end, it comes through a lot clearer. So I'm hoping that's going to be the case for everyone else. Lovelies, do let us know if there are also, other audio or video issues that we're not seeing, because it's the second time that we're doing this. It's the first time that we're actually able to make the video thing work, which is really exciting, but slightly nerve-wracking as well.
Yeah. Which is why I'm the guinea pig, though. So
True.
this is the good thing. How come your earphones are so small?
It's the AirPods. It was a birthday gift a year ago or 2 years ago from David.
I love them. Mine are massive compared to yours.
I love the contrast, though. So we're getting derailed, which is usually what happens when we talk.
Yes, sorry.
Let's get back to your work here at Making Stories. So why don't we talk a little bit about what you do? What is a typical day in your Making Stories work life like?
Well, I get up and I open my emails normally is the first thing, which weirdly I really enjoy doing because I like getting those tasks out the way, and especially because, so if you email Making Stories, hello@Making Stories, you're normally getting me. So if you're a customer and you need help and things, that's me, and I actually really enjoy that part of my job. Because most of it, you're just helping people out, and if there's a problem with a pattern or with an order, and it's just nice to be able to sort things out, basically. So that's how I start my day, and then if it's a Monday, I'm normally planning Instagram of what we're going to have for the week, and I like planning out all the pictures so they look nice on the grid, and I'll do the copy. I'll work out probably what's going to come out in the newsletter for the end of the week, and kind of write all that out. But I kind of keep that loose because if something comes up in the week and I want to share it, or we see something nice from the community that would fit in well, then so I kind of leave a spot open. And so that's kind of a typical day early on. And if it's a Hannah-Lisa work day, it normally involves Slack being open and me getting a little bit distracted, and I was having a little chat over there, which is always lovely. And so Monday, Tuesday is normally when I tackle all my to-do lists, write out what I'm doing. Wednesdays is kind of like a really quiet day, and that's when I get my head down and get the rest of the work for the week done. And then Thursday and Friday is kind of like an overspill day of if there's any extra things I need to do, any blog writing, that's what I'll do then. So that's for Making Stories, and then I fit Flossie in around there.
Oh, so for everyone who doesn't know how our work setup is right now, I'm only working 50% of the week because we're still taking care of our little one at home. So my husband, David, he's working 50%, I'm working 50%, which for Making Stories means I'm working Monday, Tuesday, and every second Friday. So those are the days where Claire will see me pop on Slack and send weird messages and ask her to review blog posts and all of that jazz. Yeah.
And it works really well. Like, I think it's working great how we've got it set up at the moment.
I love it as well. I mean, I just wish, I personally wish for myself, I would have a bit more time because I can get all of the daily things done and the project that we've planned now, but there are so many exciting things that I would love to do with Making Stories that I just don't have time for, and that is okay.
Of course.
But yeah. So as we're working remotely, I mean, you're based in Canada, I'm based in Berlin, and we've been working like that ever since you started working with me or with us. We do have a slightly different working setup than if we were to share an office, like a physical space, which not a lot of people are doing right now anyways.
No, exactly.
Yeah, but I wanted to chat a little bit about that, how it's kind of impacting how you work and what that actually means for your work at making stories that were not in the same location. Does that make a difference to you? Do you think it would, what would be different if we actually were both in the same space?
I think the thing, well, first of all, it doesn't, for my work, it doesn't make a ton of difference. It only actually makes it better because before I worked for Making Stories and before I was a knitwear designer, I ran another business, which I was a sole trader and I handmade things and I sold them on the internet. So for the longest time, I've always worked on my own. So I've always, I've never really had that, other than other jobs I've taken in between office jobs to make money and yada yada. I've never really had a long-term like work environment that hasn't just been me on my own working in a room. So when I started working for Making Stories, it was actually really nice because I kind of got a taste of, even though we were only doing weekly group chats and that kind of a thing, I kind of got a taste for working alongside someone more, which was lovely. Which that it makes it a lot less lonely, and you try, like I would do it with friends when I lived back in England, which was always fun, but you can't do it every single day, unfortunately. So it's nice to have that camaraderie. Going one step further, I think it would be awesome if we were working in the same office. I sometimes wonder if less would get done because I'm very easily distracted. Unfortunately, it's like, and especially there's someone there that I like to talk to and like to be silly with, which is definitely you. I wonder if we'd get as much work done. But it would be really nice. Like, I think the thing that I always miss is that let's go out for coffee, let's go do this, let's chat over a lunch, which would be so nice. But we kind of have that a little bit. I mean, we had our one-to-one yesterday while I was eating a Danish pastry. So we kind of do that via Skype. So yeah. Did that answer the question, or did I just go off on a complete tangent?
No, no, it totally did, and I feel the same. I think as much as we try and make time for also like non-work related stuff,
yeah,
I think it would just be nice to actually have like go out for lunch and have a bit of time to chat there. Maybe we should just schedule in virtual lunch dates. There's an idea.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Is there a favorite part of your work at Making Stories? Something can be really small or really big that you really, really like?
Honestly, and it's going to sound a little cheesy, but it is working with you, being able to have that connection. I know it's working with you. I sound like a lame, kind of like I practiced it in the mirror. But it's true. It's kind of like I said, I've worked on my own a lot, so it's nice having that person to bounce the ideas off, and having, even when you were on maternity leave and you technically weren't working, it was kind of nice to, I think I felt it then, like it felt a lot lonelier when you're on maternity leave, but also at the same time, if there was a problem, I could be like, hey, like, what's happening here and what should I do about this? And you were always there to answer it. So having that other person to bounce those things off is awesome. If that other person also will be very silly with you and be ridiculous, it's just a bonus. So that would probably be my favorite thing. One of my other favorite things is helping customers. If you get a customer panicking about something, or an order going missing, or it could just be something little, and then I always try, this is why I answer the emails first thing every morning, because there's nothing worse than sending someone, a company, an email and then you don't hear back from them for like, and there's only you and I, like, we're busy and people would understand, but I like being able to get in there. And like, we just had a customer who emailed and it was like 4 minutes ago and I already replied back to her and they're like, oh, that was really quick. But I think that's nice to be able to have that kind of, we are actually here. We do, when we say we want to help and we want to support you, we genuinely do want to support you. So yeah, I like that. I like the back and forth with the customers as well. And I really liked, sorry, this is my third favorite thing. I loved helping with the for issue 5, like putting together the submission call and helping pick out the patterns and looking at the colour schemes. That was so much fun and something I've never been able to do before because I've always been at the other side of it as a designer. So that was really fun. It was long, but it was really fun.
It was a really long work day, I'm not gonna lie, but it was also just really, I also really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed doing it with you this time around because, and we're gonna do it again for the next issues, because I think you bring a different perspective to the table. And I think that's also an excellent segue into your work as a knitwear designer, because you're able to look at the submissions from more of a designer and a knitter point of view, and I'm looking at them also from a more commercial point of view. And I think that just makes for a really nice combination. So let's talk a little bit about your knitwear design. Let's talk about Flossie, because that's your brand name under which you design super beautiful, really wearable, very timeless pieces. When did you start designing, and where are you at right now with your design work?
I started designing, I know it was in October. Was it 3 years ago? Or it might have been 4 now. I'm losing track of the years, but it's been 3 or 4 years, I think, since I published Coddle, which was my first pattern, which was like a long cowl that you can wrap around, and it was just something. It's something I'd wanted to do for a really long time. I've been knitting on and off for forever, and for whatever reason, I think I turned 30 and there was something about it. I was just kind of like, I don't know why I keep putting it off, like trying this something new. I have a friend, Kate, who's fabulous. She's Cowtown Knits on Instagram. She lives in Calgary, and she'd been doing knitwear design and with some beautiful patterns. And I'd sent her over a couple of ideas, and she was really supportive. And I'd also been doing some test knitting for Verena, which is the other person I got to know via Instagram. And I'd kind of knit up Coddle, and I sent it over to her, and she very kindly had a look at the pattern and was just like, just get it published, just do it and get it out there. And so she was super kind and like really gave me that little bit of a confidence push that I needed. And then as soon as I started doing it, I just really fell down the rabbit hole, and it's been really nice. And I've gone through a couple of different phases with it, to be honest. Early on, I was very much of the mindset, okay, this is going to be my career, this is what I'm going to make a living from doing. Knitwear designers, if you're watching, you're like, crazy. This is what you're going to make a career doing. And I kind of approached it, I think, the wrong way earlier on. I looked a lot at what other knitwear designers were producing without actually knowing anything about how they worked. I fell into that Instagram trap of, God, they're putting out a pattern every month, 2 every month, this is what I need to be doing. And I set myself a schedule, took on a ton of design work, and I ended up completely burned out with it, if I'm honest, and kind of the joy went out of it for a little while. So I took a big step back from it. So last year or the year before, I got completely burned out, and I was like, okay, I need to rethink it and find a way to enjoy it again and reassess what I want from it, I guess. So at the moment, I'm kind of in a place where I've got back into doing more self-published things. I didn't do self-published for a while. I only submitted to magazines, which was lovely, and I got to work with some really nice people. Excuse me. And yeah, I'm kind of trying to find a balance with it at the moment. It's I do it because I love doing it. I do it to bring in extra income as well, as much as it can do, but it is hard with knitwear design. It's hard to make a living from. So I'm kind of at the spot where I'm letting it just grow organically and seeing where it goes, really. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment.
I loved hearing about those phases, and thank you for being so open about them, because I think that's where a lot of people, um, you know, it's a view behind the scenes that not a lot of people are sharing, the way that you approach knitwear design and how that changes over time, also based on the experiences that you have.
Yeah.
And I think, while especially last year, I remember before I went on maternity leave, there was another gigantic discussion around pricing and the value of knitwear design and things like that. And I think that is often what our community sees. But the reality, when you're sitting at home, you're looking at your Revelry sales, you're like, great, this month was not great again. And you just
Yeah.
don't really, like, you come from this really exciting place of, you have a beautiful design idea, and then you put in all of that work and all of those hours, and you release it out into the world, and people love it, and then you're looking at sales and you're like, ugh. And I think, um,
Yeah.
I'm assuming here that, that happened for some of your patterns, which I cannot understand at all, because they're so
Oh,
beautiful.
yeah.
But it's so unpredictable, It's so unpredictable. I find what people will want to knit and what people will want to buy, and there's so much competition. And I think
There
a lot of
is.
times people, starting out with the goal that you also had with making knitwear design their career and making their living with knitwear design, have a really hard time letting that go. Um, and I think it takes an enormous amount of courage with anything to admit that, maybe the path that you set out on is not going to work out. Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Like,
I think it's important as well to I think it's a tricky one, because you do set out on that path, and then it's easy to say, yeah, it is hard to price knitwear patterns, and there is a certain expectation that they should cost a certain amount, which is not a ton of money, which isn't what they're worth. Um, I think I found it was easy early on to blame that as to, why I couldn't make a living. But actually, that, while it's a factor, that can also be quite arrogant. I talk about myself personally, because I started designing and I was like, I'm going to make a living out of this, and this is what I'm going to do. And really, I'd only just started, and I think it was that reflection as well, being quite honest, about my own abilities. Because going back over some of my patterns from early on, I was kind of like, once I got a bit more experience, I was like, actually, this isn't, it looks nice, but the pattern itself isn't actually that good. That's where I got quite critical, and decided to go back and start working things. That's why I'm working and adding extra sizes and reworking charts of old patterns, just to kind of bring it up to scratch. I think it is hard to get a pattern sold. I think there's also quite a long journey with learning the ropes. It's not all about designing a nice pattern or a nice looking pattern. Then it's, I've released things that are lovely patterns and well written patterns, but I was terrible at marketing them, and I didn't I didn't put the work in on Instagram. There's so many hats you have to wear that I think it's taken me to this point now, which is what, maybe a good 4, if I can remember how long it's been, 4 years down the line, to kind of be like, okay, I need to line up all of these dots. If this is something I want to do and I want to give someone a really nice knitting experience with a really nice finished garment at the end of it, then I need to, get my arse in gear and do these things. If after all that it's still not selling, then, then you can kind of say, well, people aren't willing to pay for it, people aren't this and that, and then look into those points as well. But I think, like everything, there's so many factors that go into making a success of this kind of career, and I think you just have to be really honest about it. Be honest about your own abilities. Be honest about how much work you've actually put into it, and and take it from there, which can sound like, if anyone's listening to this and they're like, oh, it's going to be a knitwear designing, you've made it sound the worst. It's not, because all those factors are actually really exciting, and once you start delving into them and ways you can improve and push yourself, it's actually really fun. It's a lot of work, but it's really fun, and once you actually nail a pattern and someone knits it and then they show you what they've done and show you that they wear it and they're really happy, it's one of the best feelings in the world. So which is kind of when we released Northbound in issue 3, I got so many nice comments about that, and it was like, aha, it's so exciting. So
it's also just such a stunning pattern and such a beautiful cardigan. It's so I hope the camera is showing up okay, because I grabbed a copy of issue 3 just to show it off again. Sorry, where is it? There we go.
The photos turned out so nice.
Yeah, it's talk us through that design a little bit. So which yarn is it knit in? How is it constructed? What was the inspiration behind it?
So that is Triskelion yarn. Actually, I've got a scheme weirdly right at my feet because I've got my yarn drawer here, so I can show you, and it's a leftover scheme. That wasn't planned at all. It was actually just there. So that's the yarn I used. That's Triskelion Emery's Sport. It's gorgeous. This is so I don't know if you haven't knit with Kirthan's yarn, anyone. I've used so many of his bases now because we work together on a couple of different things. Every single one's just gorgeous, and his colours are amazing. So if you ever get a chance to work with his yarn, it's phenomenal. This one was particularly good, and really forgiving. I mean, I told you the story, well, I told Hannelise the story. I knit the sleeves wrong to Northbound. I realised it after I finished the sample. I'd done the shaping wrong on them, because I tried it on and I was like, why are these sleeves so like tight? And I ended up, and it was like a complete Hail Mary at the end of it. I just like lopped the sleeves off and picked the stitches up, because I was like, this is going to take forever to unravel. And I had extra yarn, so I was like, let's try it. And I cut them off, and I'd already blocked it all out. And as I was, where's this story going? I'm telling this for a reason. Oh, because then I reknit them, and I was like, that looks terrible, because the yarn unblocked next to the yarn blocked was just looked really weird. And then I blocked it all out again, and it just went perfect. I couldn't believe it. It looked so good. So that's the yarn I used, and I knew the silhouette I wanted from early on. It was one of those designs, we'd kind of discussed it, and I knew it was going to be top down. I knew it was drop shoulder, and I knew I wanted kind of more of a boxy fit, especially with the theme of growth. I just wanted kind of that slightly oversized shape, because I'd started looking a lot at kind of like greenhouses and that style of a like growth on different levels and negative space. So yeah, I love that drop shoulder actually. And then with the stitch pattern, I'm obsessed with twisted stitches. If you see any of my work, twisted stitches crop up so often because I'm literally obsessed with them. So I kind of just swatched out this little motif. I want to keep it really simple. I just really liked it. The effect, it kind of looks a little bit like an embossed. I really like letter pressing and embossing and things, and that's what it reminded me of. And so yeah, I was just really happy. I actually have my swatch here. You can, because we originally had a slightly different colour, so this isn't the exact colour as what ended up in the magazine. But so yeah, that's one of my original swatches. Just trying it out. So I was just really happy with it. I'm a big fan of, I love overall texture, which poor Marina was probably like, oh, Claire, top down overall texture. Every time I say I won't do it again, and I do it every time because I just really like the look of it. But I like a simple stitch pattern. I love the finished look of something, but I'm all about the knitting experience. And if something, even if it looks good, but I'm swatching, I'm like, this is such a faff for knitting. I'm not that knitter. I like simple, clean lines, and I like to get a pattern in my head and be able to sit there and knit it, and put Netflix on and just get cushy on the couch. And I'm all about the comfort knitting, so that stitch pattern really spoke to me because you could just really get into a rhythm with it. So as soon as I kind of hit those kind of factors for Northbound, I was just away, and it was really fun to knit.
I'm very, very tempted to place an order with Carathan and knit it up for myself.
I
need more time. Also, by the way, Marina, hi Marina, you're watching. Yay! So Marina just commented that she loves overall texture too. Yay! I think it's just
I'm glad she
sometimes with tech editing, overall texture patterns are not the easiest.
No, or to write. The pattern to write was like, because I'd done overall, I think I'd done something else and done like an overall texture, and I remember then thinking, I'm not ever doing top down overall textures again because they're a pain to set up. And then I said that, and then because I think after I finished writing up the pattern for Northbound, I think I said to you again, don't let me do it again because it was like my brain was just fried by the end of it, and poor Marina had to keep going over it and send it back. She's like, this one's not adding up again. So, but we got there in the end, which is crazy if you think about it. If that had been knit bottom up, which Marina, when I was like lamenting to her, I was like, why has it been so difficult? And she was like, if this had been bottom up, the stitch pattern would have been set up, and then when it comes to decreasing, you'd have been like, it's just, you don't have to point anything out because it's just, the knitter can see, it's getting decreased. But when you're increasing and setting up a pattern is just, it was a pain.
Yeah.
But it was good. We got there in the end.
I feel you on that. I think that is also one of these instances where, what makes your life as a designer so difficult makes it actually really nice for the knitter. I personally, and I know I'm not alone in that, very much prefer top-down cardigans and sweaters just because you can try them on or hold them on your body as you're knitting and knit them to exactly the length that you want. And I think especially with the silhouette that you went with, the boxy, like slightly cropped, or I would knit it to a slightly cropped length, hitting just above the hip bones probably.
Yes.
I think it can really make a difference where that shape hits your body.
Definitely. And for something boxy as well, it can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah. My mom was so funny. I have to tell this story on YouTube. Hi, Mom, by the way, if you're watching this. I don't think you are. But, when my mom first saw the cardigan, she was like, oh my God, I thought it was such a old-fashioned granny cardigan, and Claire made it look so good. Like, it's just so nice. Like the proportions and all of the little details, like the fact that
so sweet.
That you have the sleeves in stockinette and not in the texture, and then twisted rib is just, be still my heart. I only knit twisted rib. And the way that you make the stitch pattern flow into it and that you use it on the shawl collar as well. Like, it's just, I could continue gushing about it.
I really like, that's really sweet. Thank you. It is those that's one of the things I really enjoy designing though. If something, I don't like just putting a trim on for the sake of it. If I've got especially with an all over pattern, there's something maybe it's just like I've got this controlling element in my brain, but it needs to kind of like, it needs to be there for a reason. So if I was going into a ribbed bit on the bottom, it just, and then it's jarring to me if it doesn't kind of match up. I just get really anal about it. So that was one of the elements I really was happy with from it, the way that it went into the rib.
Yeah.
And I love a drop sleeve. When a drop sleeve's got a pattern running along it, and then the way, because I just think drop sleeves, when you pick them up, even if it's just stockinette on stockinette, it just always looks good to me when you do the two different direction of knitting. Does that make sense? Just where those two meet.
Yeah.
There's so many fun things you can do with that. Clare Mountain's Hay Sweater is another one that I really love for that, the way the texture runs along. I have that in my queue. I need to knit that. It's such a pretty sweater. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of a drop sleeve, so definitely.
Yay! Alrighty, speaking of huge fans, so I just grabbed my knitting. Do you
Nice.
have whatever you're currently working on sitting there so that we can chat a little bit about it? Or
Yes, I have two things sitting here. One is a design in progress, and the other is something I cast on last weekend because I needed, like, do you ever do that on the weekend? I had nothing on my needles that wasn't work, so, and none of it was yellow either, which really bothers me. I like knitting something with yellow in it because it's the best colour. So I'll show you what my design that I'm working on. I don't have a ton of this to show, and unfortunately, I'm gonna be really honest, I'm gonna have to rip this back. So this is the beginning. I had a feeling I was gonna have to rip it back. I cast on with the mindset that at some point this is getting ripped back, and I'll tell you for why. This is my first time designing compound raglan. So, which has been a little tricky. Well, not tricky, it's just...
Okay, for everyone who doesn't know what compound raglan is, what is compound raglan?
So this is top-down, it's a top-down raglan sweater. And traditional raglan setup is, you have you see my little makeshift markers here. So you would increase for the front and back and for the sleeves every other round until you got the right stitch count for your sleeves and your front and back. And then you would knit straight for the rest of the yoke until it's deep enough, and then you separate for the arms and the body. So that's a traditional raglan, which I love doing that. There's nothing wrong with it, but it can lead to quite a lot of excess fabric on the underarm. This is a raglan that I've got on at the moment. So this was more of a, was this compound? This is just evenly spaced out. So this isn't traditional either. So you just get a slightly better fit under the arms. You don't get a ton of fabric gathering there, which for some people, especially if you've got a larger bust, I think, or it can just be a little bit tricky. So what a compound raglan does is you increase the sleeves and the body at different rates, and it creates, instead of a straight line that you get with traditional raglan, you get a curved line, so it fits in the contours of your body. So that's what I'm doing. The problem I did with this one is it's fine, it will be okay, but I didn't put enough increases right at the very top, so when I tried it on, it was just a little bit snug on the shoulders, so I think I just need to shufty around the increases. So that's what I'm going to do. So I just need to rip it back. So this is a design I'm doing with Ruth from Rain, Cloud and Sage. This is a new yarn, Nod. So it's top down. This is the funnel neck version. The pant's going to have two versions. It's going to have the funnel neck like this, and it's also going to have the option for a crew neck. I want to put both in because I thought, first of all, I just think the funnel neck's going to be really nice because it's got a lot of structure to the wool. And it gave me the option of putting like this little flash of the cream
I love
inside,
it.
which I really like. but it's also, as much as I love it, I wanted to give it a slightly vintage feel, which is why I went for the funnel neck. But I'm all about it being wearable as well. So I know it wasn't going to be super wearable for everyone in the funnel neck, which is why there's going to be the crew neck option also. But yeah, I'm really, there's not much to see, but I'm actually really happy with the neck so far. And it's going to be really nice. I was watching, when I was designing the sweater, I'm a sucker for old films. I absolutely love like old movies. And I don't know if anyone's seen it, but I was watching Charade with Audrey Hepburn in and Cary Grant and Walter Matthau. I don't know if you've seen that film. It's one of my favourites. And all of her costumes were done by Givenchy. And it was like early 60s with the funnel neck. And it just is so elegant and fun. So that's why I ended up with the funnel neck. And I just wanted to put this little pop of colour in because it's going to have colour work right at the bottom, and that's the swatch.
Oh, it's stunning. Oh, this is going to be so good.
I hope so. It took me a while to land on the right kind of motif for it, but yeah, I'm really excited about it. And the bit I've done so far is actually knitted up quite quickly. It's a really nice weight of yarn. It's technically a fingering weight, but it's slightly heavier. It's going to be perfect because it's light enough you could easily have it for spring, and it looks really good in a lace pattern and things like that. But for autumn, for fall, winter, which is when this pattern will be coming out, it's great for colour work, and it knits up to quite a dense, warm fabric for a fingering weight. So it's the perfect all-round yarn. So
nice.
I'm just really excited. Look at that colour. I'm all about the pink. So much pink on my needles these days. It's crazy.
It's gorgeous though, and I just have to say I completely fell in love with the funnel neck, especially with that cream in that. Like, funnel neck is not a silhouette that I will typically pick for myself.
No.
But that one, especially, what I don't like about it is if it falls down, if it's sort of floppy.
Yes.
But because, yours is really structured, it just looks as if it's going to stand up, like the Audrey Hepburn costumes. Oh,
exactly. That's exactly what I was going for. I wanted it has a lot of structure to that yarn. So, and because again, it's going to be a boxier shape, it kind of, the overall silhouette of it will be quite structured, and the sleeves will be long and tapered at the end with a little bit of colour work at the end as well. So the sleeves will balance out the boxiness of the sweater. So
nice.
So yeah, I'm really excited about it. It was I think I'm chatting to Ruth maybe tomorrow. I'm chatting to her at some point this week, I think. So we're going to have another little look at where we're up to, and I think we're planning another little pattern together as well. Excuse me. So yeah, that's my work project that's on my needles at the moment. And then last weekend, of course, I'm partway through a row, so not prepared at all. But I cast on the Iris Shrug. This by Melody Hoffman. I should have had like a little... It's really pretty. If you look at it on Ravelry, you do a provisional cast on, you knit one way in this lovely lace. Where am I? You knit in one direction for so long, and then you pick up the stitches for the cast on and knit the other way, and the pattern mirrors itself on the back, and then you Kitchener stitch this under the arms, and then you just knit all the way around, and it creates this really cute, quite like 1920s, it feels like, I think, shrug. And that's the perfect, I was saying before about relaxing, watching Netflix and or podcasts. This is like the perfect project, and it's yellow. I've had this in my stash.
Oh, it's so good.
So long. I don't think, do they make Samite anymore? I don't think they actually. Did it
I
get
don't think
discontinued?
it's so that's a Blacker Yarns yarn. It's silk
Yeah.
with what is it blended?
It's a wool silk blend, but it's not. I'm not a big fan. This might be controversial. I'm not a big fan of silk yarns. They're too something. Like, they're quite shiny and a little slippery, and I like yarns have a bit of a bite to it. But it's almost more like raw silk that's spun into it. I don't quote me on that, but that's what it feels like. And it's woolen spun, which is one of my favourite as well. But it's gorgeous. So it's got silk in it, but it's not like a shiny yarn
Yeah.
at all. But it's kind of got glows weirdly. I don't know how to describe it properly. It's beautiful though, but I think it got discontinued, which is a shame. It's been hanging on my wall for like 3 years, so it needed to come off the wall.
I love that color as well. I mean, it's just that shade of yellow. So good.
Drowsy flowers, not dropsy, sorry. Oh, it's beautiful. Well, you know me, yellow is my absolute favourite colour ever, and especially this kind of golden, but it's got a slight green undertone, so yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
A lot of fun. So I think that's everything on my needles. I do have another sweater on my needles somewhere, but for the life of me, I don't know where I put it. I've packed it away because it was a really heavyweight one. So that got packed away somewhere for a little while I work on other things. So yeah.
2 projects is a good amount.
I think so. Well, I'm going to have the baby blanket on my needle soon as well, because I have the old wool here, so lurking. So yeah, I think 2 projects for now is good. I really want to cast on some socks at some point and join Ruth from Rain Cloud and Sage is having a cal at the moment, a sock cal. So I really want to join in on that at some point. So, but there are enough hours in the day at the moment, unfortunately.
That is very much true. So I think we're a little bit over our time already. It's time to wrap it up.
Cool.
People, if you have any questions, now would be the time to comment and ask them. And while we wait for any questions that might come in, I will just share 2 comments that came in while you were showing your beautiful design, Claire. So AL, hi AL, so wonderful that you're watching.
Oh, so nice.
So AL wrote, oh, looks great. And then Marina is very glad that you came up with color work. That's wonderful. And she loves the funnel neck idea.
Nice. Marina's a genius. As is AL, those socks.
Socks.
That's what I'm thinking to cast on. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the name.
Triage.
Triage, that's it.
Yep.
That's what I was thinking to cast on, her socks. So exciting.
For everyone who doesn't know what we're talking about, it's another pattern from issue 3. This is very self-promotional right now, but it's a gorgeous pattern.
I didn't mean to be like, oh, I'm gonna knit a Making Stories pattern. Just AL's socks are so nice.
Yeah, they're stunning. So AL designed these beautiful socks in woolly mammoth fiber yarns. I actually have them on my needles right now. I need to rip back because genius knitter that I am and preacher to the swatch did not swatch, and I'm very much off gauge. Yeah, I realized that a few centimeters into the foot that they would maybe fit a giant, but not my mom, for whom they are intended. So anyways, AL, you did a wonderful, wonderful job with your design. It's a lot of fun to knit, and I will gladly rip them back and make sure that I actually swatch and get gauge. So
sometimes
yeah.
you just want to cast on though.
Oh yeah. I have a lot of projects in my future. I don't know, maybe we need extra Making Stories knits with project updates or something at some point.
Yes.
So I I think as there are no questions have come in until now, let's wrap it up for today with the last question to you. Where can people find more about you and your work as a knitwear designer?
You can find me on Ravelry as Flossy Knits. You can find me on Instagram as Flossy Knits, and I've got a website, flossyknits.com. So you can find me at all those places, and you can email me at hello@flossyknits as well. So if you are stuck with anything at all.
Okay, wonderful. I will include links to all of those in the description bar below. And for now and for today, thank you all so much for watching. It would be wonderful if you could let us know how the audio and video quality was, because I mean, we're obviously seeing what we are seeing on our devices here, and we want to have we want to make the viewing experience for you as good as possible. So feedback would be very much appreciated.
Yes.
And we'll be live again in 2 weeks next time with the wonderful Emma Robinson, the yarn dyer and
Yay.
absolutely incredible color wizard behind Woolly Mammoth Fibers. And that's going to be in 2 weeks from now, same place, same time. And thank you so much, Claire, for joining me today. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It was lovely. Slightly nerve-wracking, but lovely.
Yay!
Yay, I had a great time.
Alrighty, lovelies. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Have fun. Bye.